In this video I'm going to show you several of the industries which I've created for Trainz. These are all new buildings, and some of them are industry enabled. So the first one is a concrete pipe works. Now I'm just looking in the scenery items here, and lots and lots of County Donegal Railway. Here we go, concrete pipe. So concrete pipes, well, this is a scenery item. That's the little load. They're very light coloured, as you can see here, and I've got a factory here. There we are, just a little factory building, and here's a factory shed, quite similar, and just swinging it round. Here's the actual factory. So I haven't put any ground texture on at all, and it produces these little pipes. So it's like these, and it's just an animated scenery item. So I'm just going to now load the next item, which is should be help if I typed in the correct thing. There we are, travelling crane. So this is an animated scenery item, again to demonstrate the manufacture of concrete pipes. And if we have a look here, you can see that it's an electric travelling crane. There's the electric wire, and it picks up the pipe and it runs along to the far end of the track, of its own track, and you'll see it swings across and drops the pipe down on the ground, and then it returns to pick up the next pipe. And as that pipe is deposited, the animation takes the crane back to the start position, which is actually in the middle of the track, and then this pipe will disappear and a new one will appear over here for it to pick up, and it just repeats that animation. So it's just sort of ticking away. There it goes, and then there's another pipe has appeared over here. So where's it appeared from? Well, it's appeared from the little factory building here that produces them, and this is based on a pipeworks, concrete pipeworks, in an aerofilms photograph that I've got of a concrete pipeworks in the sort of Cheshire area. So I'm just going to move this about, and it's the position of that pipe that's important. Don't worry about the animation not being coordinated with the factory, with the crane. Just wait for it to come back. It's a 2000 frame animation, so it takes a little while, but we should see another pipe appear here in a moment. And what I want to do then is move this so it's sitting on top of that pipe. There it is. So we can move that till it's in position there, and then what will happen is the travelling crane will pick the pipe up. There we are. And then as it's getting on moving it, so the factory will eventually, any minute now, the door will slide open and another pipe will come out on the trolley and just be deposited there. And once you've got them in position like that, if you find that this pipe still is there after the travelling crane picks it up in Surveyor, don't worry, because I was concerned about that, and I discovered that once you load this into Driver, then the animation becomes coordinated, and they're designed to work together. So the frame 0 here is connects in with frame 0 in the travelling crane. I suppose I could have done it as a single model, but believe me, this was complicated enough, so I decided just to do that. And it just happens that in this video that I've managed to get it so that the pipe produced from the factory has already disappeared, and the one produced by the travelling crane is there. Okay, and then you've got this other building over here, which is just a simple static scenery item of the same type. And in fact, what it was, I saw on the Aerofilms photograph, was there were several buildings of this type. So if I jump across there and pick that one up again and put it down again, and then if you rotate it 90 degrees, so you can either hide the, oh, where are we, 270 we want, don't we? Come along, come along, come along. 270, there we are. And then what you can do is you can actually obscure part of that other building with this one. Fit them in. And they were all pretty much of a muchness. They looked to me like those First World War period, sort of not quite Nissen huts, but they were army huts, and a lot of them were sold, dismantled and sold off at the end of the First World War, and this concrete work seems to have used a lot of them. Okay, but that's all very well. Well, the other thing that we want is the concrete pipes industry. So here we go, and that's just a piece of track, and it has a lot of concrete pipes, and all you do, let's just move our batch of pipes over there. All you do is move that into position, and I would suggest you move it inside, and oops, don't want to do that, do I? Don't want to move that. That you move it, oh dear, picking up the wrong thing. No, I'm still doing it wrong. So pick it up and plonk it down about there, and what will happen is that pipes will be left nearby, and then all you do is add whichever track you want. This is my ordinary flat bottom rail standard gauge. Add it in, and stick a buffers on the end, and should be okay. I think that's going to leave it in a good spot. Maybe I'm a little close. No, it's alright. Yeah, it'll just drop it down. But a bit of experimentation and you'll soon get it sorted. And then you can drive tape bring wagons up here, and they'll load up with the concrete pipes. Of course you've got to enable them for the correct load, but that should be once you've set it up and it's just chuntering away like that, producing loads of smoke and loads of pipes, then that means you've got a concrete pipes industry that you can put next to some track, run a spur off your line, and gives you an industry, concrete pipe industry. So my second contribution to industries for Trainz is a brewery. So there it is, and it's a straightforward scenery item building, and it's based upon the brewery building at Wells Lane in Exeter, and it's modelled from plans that were published in the Engineer in about 1870, something like that. And it's pretty straightforward. There's the building. There's the brewery industry, which is simply a platform with barrels. Now, in the little screenshot which accompanies these, I seem to have got the platform hard up against the building. That's something you don't want to do. This needs to be a brewery yard with perhaps cobblestones, some horse-drawn drays, and some more barrels. and so you can really sort of lay out a brewery yard, and perhaps have a gateway with horse-drawn vehicles nearby. And again, this is just a simple building industry track, and it'll take whatever track you like, and some of these will appear and disappear according to what you shunt up against it. These industries of mine, I've set them for the Great Western Railway open wagons that I produced some while ago, and all of the loads are already on my website, and this is just an additional function for them. So really, for this, you need to add in various things like perhaps cranes. I seem to remember I did do. I'm sure I did. Let's just check there. CR crane, cranes, crates. Can't remember now. There's shear legs. Okay. Well, there are a couple of cranes which I haven't released at the moment, which I will do so in due course at the next update on my website. But this is what's available now. So something else I did was a maltings building, again based upon the plans in the Engineer magazine from the 1870s, and this is separate building, just again another scenery item, but it's these Victorian buildings seem to have an incredible preponderance of fancy fittings, and so what with the brickwork and the stonework and all this sort of thing, and massive roofs, as you can see, they just give another bit of strength to the brewery industry. So again, this could be a line side industry running off a spur from your main line. So that's my brewery industry, and this is all available on my latest website update, of course. My third industry for Trainz is gasworks, and but it isn't industry enabled. It's a collection of scenery items which you can use to populate a gasworks site, and then you have to add industry capability. I did try to make one of the key buildings industry enabled, but failed miserably. So let's have a look at them. Well, first of all, these are all based on the gasworks at Beckton in East London, the Gas, Light and Coke Company. This is a boiler house that supplied power to different buildings in the gasworks, so it's a comparatively straightforward building. These were all built in the 1870s, 1880s. Power, I guess it was electricity it's supplied, but also pressure. This was the days of the of using water under high pressure to operate things. So that's the boiler house, and then we have an exhauster house, which is basically it controls the flow of gas from the works, or around the works, from the retort houses where the gas is produced, through to the actual 4-foot diameter pipes, which are the gas mains taking gas to London, which is what this works was built to supply. And then a big beast, and there were 10 of these at Beckton. This is the retort house where the gas was actually produced, and this is what I failed to convert to industry enabled. So it's got four tunnels, as it were, through it, so you can put tracks through and make them industry enabled as you see fit, using industry link or any other of the capabilities of Trainz. I tried to incorporate that into this, but I just wasn't able to. So it's down to you to add the industry capability. And this is the first of 2 designs of retort house that I'll be modelling. The other one is equally big. There were 10 of these at Beckton, so it's an enormous area. I mean, let's just zoom back. See, that's a typical tile in Trainz. This is a monster of a building. Okay, and the other building, the 4th building, which I'm releasing this month, is the a gas holder, gasometer, as they were incorrectly known. And the gas holder is where gas was stored and withdrawn or pumped into as required. In addition to that, I'm releasing a whole load of components for making the high-level viaduct, which crossed over, ran around the works, supplied the retort house, etc. And these are all at the height of the upper level of the retort house, which was the standard height. So we've got some fixed track items, although there's no track on any of these. Those markings are not track. That's for you to put rail only track on top of that. There's also I've done the support separately. You'll see why in a minute as well. Let's just do the singles ones. So these are really just to keep, these are fixed positions for you to click the splines to. I'll come on to the splines in a minute. There's the single supports, and you use all of those underneath the splines basically. In addition, there are a number of turnouts. So there's a left-hand turnout with the railing handrail on both sides for use as a single piece, and a left-hand turnout with a railing missing from that edge. And so if I then put the right-hand turnout in, so with handrails on both sides, and then right hand with only on one side, that's so that these can be put together and positioned correctly using the double track. They won't click together. You'll have to put some spline in between and some uprights. So it's all done by eye and movement. Takes a little bit of time, can be a bit fiddly, but is well worth it. And believe me, if I could have got them working together, I would have done. And there's also a Y turnout, which is usually used on the works off the side of the turnout. And again, they don't click together. You need to use a bit of spline in between and look down on the top of them in order to, do a vertical view to get the angle right for the Y turnouts. So I'd advise definitely looking up Beckton Gasworks online. You'll see some photographs that are available on Wikipedia, etc., which will give you an idea of just how complex the whole works were. To bring all these together are the viaducts, splines. So there's a single viaduct spline. Let's go over here. There we are. Look, no supports whatsoever, floating in the air. So that's why when you connect these fixed track and scenery pieces together with the single spline, for example the retort house, it'll click to that, and there, look, for example, you need to put some supports underneath. It wasn't quite as defying gravity as that. And that's a single with handrails each side, but where you've got two, where you need a bit of short piece of mesh with handrail on one side, I've done that as well. There we are. It's usually only you only need that for short pieces. And of course I've done the double, because we've got double spline as well. There we are. Now click to that. And the whole system is really extensive, and an incredible amount of activity. Coal trains, constant 24 hours a day, every day of the year, without interruption, to produce the gas that London needed. I've also included in this release the viaduct incline, which is a 1 in 30 incline. Again, this is not got track on it. You have to add the track just visually yourself and get the height, set the height, and then do everything else like that. And you need to put rail only track down all of these. and this was the incline that the little locomotives used to charge up with 3 or 4 wagons to get to the height of the retort house to provide coal pouring into the retorts, gas being produced as it's cooked, and then the resulting coke and other side byproducts coming out the lower one there, which I've just left, so you can bring in a track just at low level on that. So there we are, that's the gasworks. That's the beginning of the gasworks, I should say. There's another retort house in the offing. There's the roundhouse, which stabled the dumb buffered open or cabless locos that ran through these limited clearance, limited height clearance buildings, the roundhouse. There's maybe a second gasometer in a slightly different colour scheme, grey and white, which I'm thinking of doing. That'll just be the same as this, but just in a different livery. There's a meter house to come, and there's some other buildings, including the specialised viaduct that ran to the dock where the coal ships would pull up, and then the cranes would unload those coal ships into wagons, and then the locos would pull those wagons back into them onto the main raised network and into the retort houses. So there we are, an industry without anything industry enabled. I know, I do appreciate that. I did try very hard to overcome that, but failed miserably. There are some good tips online for how to do that, and I think even as a static scenery item with just some trains running around with coal in them, even if it's not loading and unloading, it's still well worth including in a layout. So that's my third and final industry. I hope you've enjoyed this video for Trainz. Everything is available on my website. Please like this video if you did enjoy it, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe.